We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Sell in May and go away. I thought the market was supposed to go down in May. Well, guess what? No. Tech stock earnings are out. What does it mean for crypto? Hello. It was the apocalypse in equities, right? Wrong. Hey, I'm in 95% cash. Some guys like bragging about this. Okay, bro. We'll check back with you in 6 weeks and 6 months, and you let us know how that's going on. Pressure has built up in the system. And what's going to happen when all that pressure gets released and crypto breaks out? What happens when Bitcoin gets above 97K? Well, I think you may know the answer to that, but you're definitely going to want to see the charts and all the relevant news, because guess what? Everybody declared the end of the world. Everyone sold. Stunks, which stink, right, as a long-term investment, are unchanged from the tariff tantrum. Liberation Day, now unchanged. Meanwhile, everyone's looking over there going, well, you know, the Fed's probably going to cut rates and there may be some sort of slowdown in economic growth. Why don't we buy crypto instead? Why don't we buy crypto instead? Right? It's like, hey, there's a case for Bitcoin. Hey, there was an aggressive merger attempt with XRP, and it goes on and on and on and on. Plus, as I said, Elon is next to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion, to change the conversation around him. And the Chinese must watch the show, because I said they need dollars to prop up their currency, and they might sell gold, which is confirmation that they're not selling Bitcoin. They're trading Bitcoin they're using Bitcoin with the Russians to trade oil. So when they had to go sell something, they sold gold and kept the Bitcoin. Do you have any idea how bullish this is? Not to mention the fact that when the Chinese had to sell gold to get dollars, they told everybody how much stress that they're under, and they're going to cave, and this tariff thing is over. It's over. I mean, it may not be over now, but when the Chinese caved and sold gold, that was the end. And if you're wondering why the market's off to the races, that's why. Because crypto's a top investment. Crypto's better than gold. Crypto is decoupled from stocks, and crypto is too cheap. It's too cheap as an asset class, not just Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is way too cheap, right, relative to like Magnificent Seven stocks. But Web3 is also a joke. And we'll try to look at as many altcoin charts as we can. Thank you for staying with us through the technical difficulties. All right, Tyler is here. Mitchell, Stefan, let's get some cash, right? Buy and hodl. And that's the market update. Tooth is here. What's up? Really appreciate you, sir. Tango FN. Yao Lopez from Portugal. Ben from Australia. Ted, what's up? Stream away in May. Love it. Whoa, blown ideas. Metal Synthetic. Horace and Taz Pinball. Okay. Let's see what end of the world stuff they've got for us this morning as we smoke higher. Oops. No negative stuff today. U.S. stock futures surge on blowout tech earnings. All right, so guess what they did in Magnificent Seven land? As soon as the market rolled over, they just fired everybody, right? They were just like, you know what? We're just going to cut all the costs. We're going to cut everything we can. And I guess the earnings from the AI-based stuff were bigger than anyone thought. So they had these huge blowout earnings numbers, right? Meaning like all the big tech companies that release earnings, the numbers were dramatically better than anyone thought. So that completes, like, frankly, the P&L destruction in stonks, right? They all sold. They all thought it was the end of the world. They all thought it was a recession. It might be a slowdown. But again, strong AI innovation and investment, right, which prevents an economic disaster, combined with a much weaker, or maybe it's better said, much more realistic labor market, because the number of job openings is collapsing, right? It's like straight down. this brings in the Fed. And if it doesn't bring in the Fed, it brings in the bond market or some form of lower rates. And if it doesn't bring that in, it brings in crypto. Because if we can't do it through legacy, we'll vent the pressure in the system through crypto. Okay, so, Meta and friends basically said, we're going to spend a lot of money on data and we're not going to spend a lot of money on anything else. So the stock probably gaps higher. Goldman can't believe that Alibaba just released a large language model like their version of ChatGPT. So this is DeepSeek Part 2. Guess what? They keep making this stuff cheaper and better. And when they make this stuff cheaper and better, tech as a whole can fly, and AI is undervalued in crypto, right? So they're racing each other to build a giant Skynet machine. The Chinese have it. We have it. Okay, terrific. How are you going to trade that? You trade it through something innovative and imaginative called crypto. Seriously, right? And you get it with both hands. Now look at this. Ripple tries to buy USDC. Okay, so first of all, this was, I don't know, this was like headline. Ripple was like trying to get itself back in the media. I mean, Circle is about to IPO when everyone in Washington has figured out that stablecoin companies effectively buy treasuries. They're these huge entities that buy massive amounts of treasury debt. So they're like, okay, well, we'll just create this stuff and we'll create these companies and they'll buy treasuries. And then for our purposes, they'll use the treasury bonds to just print stablecoins. Like, oh, okay. Well, we can release all these stablecoins into the market now because we have all these treasuries to back them. Voila. It's like money printing for crypto. So Ripple comes in, says, hey, we want to buy USDC. Now, the first thing I said is, why would USDC sell when they're going public? They're trying to go public. They're not going to sell. Okay. And then second of all, I thought Ripple had its own stable coin. Like what? Why is Ripple down on its own products that they got to go buy Circle, which is effectively a CBDC? Now, I looked at this and I was like, all right, dude, well, good attempt at a headline. But my advice to Ripple is focus on XRP Ledger, and their stable coins, right? Because Circle is not going to sell with Congress all hot to trot on stable coins. Now, again, the important note for you is that if the banking system and Congress want stable coins, what should you want? You should want DeFi and anything other than a stable coin, right? Because as soon as everyone gets stable coins, they're going to dump them and go into Bitcoin. Or you could just let them surveil you. And also, privacy is going to be important with stable coins. All right. So again, $4 to $5 billion. Actually, I'm also glad that they didn't do the deal because I wonder if they would have had to dump XRP on everybody to buy Circle. You know what I'm saying? Like they were willing to dump $4 billion worth of XRP on your head to get Circle. It was so weird. But again, the more they want the stable coins, the higher the market's going. Because Congress is just like, oh yeah, we can't pass this stuff fast enough. This opens up DeFi. This opens up the entire ecosystem. But this really shows you the extent of the FOMO in the stablecoin market to get crypto out there. I mean, if you have stablecoins floating around with MasterCard, Circle, Ripple, everyone's doing it, those stablecoins eventually wind up in crypto, meaning as in digital assets, stocks, tokenized stocks, Bitcoin, you name it. Okay, so Bitcoin price is about to blast higher. I thought it was sell in May and go away. What happened to that? I made a living with that, and here's the deal. That comes from the history of equities, right? So equities are buy in January, sell in May, go away, come back in July for the summer rally, sell for September, buy at the end of October, and ride it up for the Santa rally. That's how stocks work. And then sell in May and go away has worked in crypto. I mean, it started with Celsius and FTX, and that pretty much works every year. Now, we're not doing that this year, as I've been saying on and on and on and on, because A, crypto's already gotten hammered, and B, we've decoupled from equities. So take the equities history book and throw it out the window. But everyone's like, well, sell in May and go away. No, bro. No. In fact, it's the other way around. Everyone wants the market to go lower. Everyone thinks it's going lower. Everybody thinks American exceptionalism, the stock market, the world is ending. Ray Dalio's like, we're at an inflection point. Yeah, bro, we're at an inflection point where Bitcoin smokes to the upside. ETH follows, Solana follows, and everything goes with it. That's where we're at. You know, if we're selling anything in May, it's this idiotic, apocalyptic, it's missing any hope. We're dumping the despair and we're going to crypto. That's what we're doing. And everyone's like, okay, Bill, you're drinking Kool-Aid, right? And then you wake up May 1st because the market loves to go up after the payroll number. That's a Gann thing. The market loves to go up after the payroll number. Like, we're not going to wait for the payroll number. Let's just do it now. Let's do it now. It's not sell in May and go away. It's get involved quickly. That's what it is. Okay, so we saw the Chinese dump gold. We'll talk about that. Tesla board begins search for CEO to succeed Elon Musk, supposedly. Extremely bad breach of ethics. Elon blasts Wall Street Journal CEO search report. Okay, so no one's getting rid of Elon for one simple reason, is that Tesla doesn't have to do any marketing. You've never seen a Tesla commercial, a Tesla billboard. You don't see any of that because Tesla marketing is Elon on Twitter. Just, banging away. So if you got rid of Elon, you would have to do marketing for Tesla. Tesla would just become some other boring car company. Now, with that said, they didn't just make this up. Okay, it may be an inaccurate story, but I would imagine Tesla's board of directors, the mutual funds like BlackRock and Cathie Wood and all these characters that own gazillions of dollars worth of Tesla stock are not exactly happy, right? That he went to go play politics and decided to blow off Tesla and have everyone vandalize the cars. Guess what, dude? Guess what? You can't play anymore. You can't play. Now, what's Elon going to have to do to change the conversation? This is probably what you're wondering. He's going to have to buy Bitcoin. Elon's going to have to get in line with everybody else because Elon's cool factor just went from like 100 to 0. Seriously, to 0. I mean, he had a great thing going with Doge, but he was running around Washington like a tyrant, screaming at everybody. And now he's running away with his tail between his legs. And the deep state's trying to run him out of town. So, 1, the government is not saving any money. Buy Bitcoin, right? 2, Elon's going to have to buy Bitcoin because he can't be cool anymore. The only way to get cool is to get on this Bitcoin trade and start accepting Bitcoin for payment for Teslas. This is going to happen. Elon doesn't like it, but it's going to happen, right? Because whether this story is true or not, the deep state or whoever hired people to go out and vandalize Teslas, you know what? I hate to say it, but it worked. It worked because car insurance companies would not, it would have been a nightmare. You wouldn't have been able to buy a Tesla because you wouldn't be able to get insurance. So guess what? He's going to buy Bitcoin. Now, the other reason for crypto, and I've talked about this before, there's like a generation of people out there that don't work, right? The British Chamber of Commerce is warning of a workless, lost generation caused by young people suffering poor mental health. There are young men out there that are just not in society. they're not working. They're not in job training. They're not doing anything. They're not in school. They're not in job training, and they don't have a job. How do you fix that? You want to hear the silly? You want to hear something silly? You know how you fix it? Ready? Meme coins. Open the casino back up and let these kids have a chance. Or just get this market mooning so bad they can like jump in and turn $50 into $300 and then maybe start moving forward in their life. Jordan Peterson says, clean up your room and you can start down the path of responsibility and manhood. I say, clean up your room, buy some crypto or whatever, watch it go up, and then you have some jingle in your pocket. Crypto is a necessary societal vitamin C injection. People aren't seeing it that way, but you know what? Kids are going to push the green button. You start this market in up-only mode, they're going to open this to Solana Casino back up. And this time, again, I'm telling you, it could be all AI related. Like here's Robot Coin, or here's the sequel to Truth Terminal, and here's what Truth Terminal 2 came up with. Or antivirus, by the way, which is breaking out. I didn't look at the chart this morning, but yesterday it was perky. Okay, here we go. I love this. I don't know. Some big stock guy says his fund holds 95% cash because everything's going to zero. This was like the low in Bitcoin. It's like, whoop, see ya. I mean, crypto went down like what? Altcoins are down like what, 4% yesterday? And I was like, whatever. It's like altcoins were going down 4% per day for 3 months. And we're going to get upset about one day with stuffy characters like this going, oh my God, it's definitely the end of the world. Yeah. All these guys at the macro cocktail party. Yeah, it's the end of the world. What do you think, Joe? Yeah, it's the end of the world. Hey, Sam, what do you think? Yeah, it's the end of the world. And then all of a sudden they're looking around the room and goes, everyone thinks it's the end of the world. And meanwhile, there's like a guy in the corner on crypto just going, bye, 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 bye. And stonks too. Like, okay, you guys think it's going to zero? I'll just buy. It's so classic, right? I mean, 95% cash. I love the dollar. Bitcoin. Whoosh. Elon's got to buy Bitcoin. The Chinese can't sell Bitcoin. They're selling gold, everyone's darling trade. Meanwhile, again, crypto. Oh, look at this. Morgan Stanley offers to put crypto trading for E-Trade clients. Morgan Stanley wants to give everyone the green button, while everyone in legacy gets short and apocalyptic. Hey, guys, don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years, as in crypto. Welcome. We'll sell you our bags at 150K in Bitcoin. Thanks for coming in. Don't you love legacy? I love legacy. Oh my God, wait, the Chinese, they need dollars. They must watch this. They must watch the show. Chinese need dollars. The reason that the trade situation is the way it is because the Chinese make stuff, as much stuff as they can, sell it to us so we can give them dollars so they can keep their little shell game going. Well, guess what? The orange man's not trading with them anymore. We're not buying stuff from them. The flow of dollars has dried up. So they can't manage their monetary system. So they have to sell gold. I mean, they've been buying gold for 25 years, literally. The Chinese and the Russians buy, I don't know, a huge chunk of the supply of gold every single year for the last 25 years. So Chinese like, well, we're a little short dollars and, gold has gone to the moon. So let's just sell some gold. You guys want some gold? Here you go. So much for the gold rally. I mean, it's not down like 10% or anything, but the Chinese need dollars. They need dollars. And, they're not selling Bitcoin because they're using that to settle trades with the Russians and oil. Now, they might have to sell Bitcoin at some point, but why would you? Why would you? It's an appreciating asset, massively appreciating asset. I don't know, man. And they got to use it. Gold tumbers on near record Chinese liquidations. Okay, the Bank of Japan helped us out last night. So the Bank of Japan needed to raise rates to stop inflation, and they didn't, which is kind of like cutting rates in a way. And the Bank of Japan knows that if they raise rates, this whole thing called the yen carry trade. So since that legacy has already gone, the Bank of Japan is not going to pile on. They're not. Not to mention, you're going to have a global slowdown in economic growth. So raising rates, generally speaking, is stupid. And this all feeds into this, oh my God, it's the legacy apocalypse. And then they're all like, wait a minute, it's not the apocalypse? I thought it was the apocalypse. It's not the apocalypse, bro. And that whoosh sound that you just heard, yeah, that's crypto just launching itself into outer space. But, you know, you're in 95% cash, so good luck with that. Again, we'll sell you our bags at 120K. Bitcoin traders, eye breakout, right? Orange Man says, hey, we're making deals. Maybe he is. Or maybe this conversation just dies down. And then the Orange Man comes in, or somebody makes an announcement over the weekend and says, hey, either we got trade deals done or we're going to start buying Bitcoin. That could be Elon. That could be Orange Man. That could be some huge corporation. By the time your financial advisor says it's okay to buy Bitcoin, it'll be $1 million. When they say it's a good idea, it will be at $10 million. Okay. Bitcoin ETF exposure assets across top wealth platforms. See all of these checks in prohibited and all these checks in restrictions. Schwab, Fidelity, Wells Fargo, Mariner, and Fisher. Right? Not doing it at Citibank. Not doing it at Bank of America. She's got a retirement plan at Bank of America. Not doing the Bitcoin ETF. Oh, yeah, banks are opening up to crypto. Yeah. Banks like, yeah, we'll get on board. Okay. You can't buy the Bitcoin ETF in a retirement fund at Bank of America. Okay. Listen, you think you're not early? Listen, you're early, especially since the altcoin market, which I continue to believe is dramatically undervalued, has been absolutely hammered. Do you know how the market goes up and everyone's like, oh, yeah, here's a video. You're not early. But, folks, you're early. You're early. Nothing's happened here. Nothing. They were talking about Michael Saylor and getting liquidated in crypto winter 2 weeks ago. And nobody can buy the Bitcoin ETF. They haven't even figured that out yet. Like, you know, my joke, it's like, oh, well, at 80, no one wants it. At 100, 250, it'll be much more attractive. We'll open up the Bitcoin ETF after it's gone up. That's classic legacy. Bitcoin is a swarm of cyber hornets serving the goddess of wisdom, feeding on the fire of truth, exponentially growing smarter, faster, and stronger behind a wall of encrypted energy. I got some stuff. I won't read it to you, but I got a guy who was like leaning into this idea that Bitcoin is something that Leonardo da Vinci would have loved, who was a famous inventor from way back when, right? It's like creativity that comes from pain and thinking outside the box. Like, well, this doesn't work. Let's make something new and creative. That's kind of what Mike is talking about here, right? Serving the goddess of wisdom. Like, for example, we had this slide earlier where, you know, what is it? Alibaba can just go abracadabra and boom, a new chatbot model appears, which can then generate Python. Just, you know, code is not scarce anymore. I found out yesterday that Oracle, which has a huge presence here in Austin, Texas, yeah, like it's either a rumor or a strong rumor or a borderline fact, they're leaving Austin. They're packing their stuff up and they're leaving. Like this whole Oracle town is going away. Why? Because code is not scarce. They make software. That's it. Right? Okay. You can make software. It's like, okay, let's go over to this language model and push a button and boom, we have software. That's it. That's what's happening out there. Now, can you do that with Bitcoin? No. I don't think you can do it with 3/4 of the cryptos that are out there. Right? It's a decentralized network. You can't just push a button and have the spirit of Bitcoin. You can't have it. Now that could drive the whole ecosystem, because if everything else is trash that can be replicated by a chatbot, what's not trash? Well, Bitcoin's not trash. Bitcoin's got like this moat around it. MicroStrategy, which all the hedge funds are short, can go up massively. So if you're looking at your bags and going, what do I do? I don't know. Not investment advice. How about double up? That's what I did. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, if Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats, and Bitcoin has to be resold to people. Everyone's like, oh, I want altcoins. No, dude, you start with meme coins. I'm sorry, you start with Bitcoin, then you go to meme coins, because young people need something to get going. They need it. By the way, I can't let this one slide. Everybody who was watching the Bank of Japan said, oh, well, they're not going to change rates. That was a stupid idea. And then the same people were like, oh, well, the last time they didn't hike rates, the Bank of Japan caved. The Bank of Japan has no credibility. Now, a couple months later, they're like, well, of course they're not changing rates, right? Like, oh my God, they lost credibility. And then they did the same thing, and everyone's like, well, of course they did that. They have their head so far up there in legacy, it's not even funny. They don't know which way is up. They don't. Now, I know this may not make sense to you, because 1 minute the Bank of Japan doing nothing is bad, and now the Bank of Japan doing nothing is good and obvious. They've lost their ability to read the market over there. They have. Okay, so Sam Altman's Skynet coin launches in U.S. with eye-scanning orbs in 6 cities. At Wednesday, World announced it will build an orb factory in Richardson, Texas. How nice. Skynet comes to Texas. Great. Listen, one thing I say about crypto is that it is the free market, okay? And if we don't build something here or trade something here, Skynet will. Now, I don't know. Maybe this has some sort of value because your eyeball is proof of human, or maybe your eyeball goes into some giant database and it's creepy AF. Circle is creepy AF. It's creepy, right? I hear this, I'm like, oh my God, where's antivirus? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to build a giant Skynet eyeball scanning factory, and antivirus is at 3 million market cap with the one guy who could actually push back against all this. Like, you think about that, about McAfee. Like, McAfee gets on the tape and is like, hey, or somebody gets on the tape, some random guy like me gets on the tape and is like, well, this is not good that we have Skynet factory in Texas, or we can get McAfee, AI McAfee on Joe Rogan. Because McAfee talks now. And there's a lot of guys on TikTok, right? A lot of guys on TikTok and on Twitter, like guys who are like, hey, what's the next big altcoin out there? And there's like 2 or 3 guys, they're like piling in going, hey, 2 or 3 loud guys on Twitter. One guy has 3 kids, like made this very brave Twitter site for AI McAfee to kind of like, to quote him. This is breaking out. A lot of guys are asking, hey, what's the next altcoin? And our guys go, the anti guys go in there and they go, hey, what about us? And the guys reply back, go, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, okay, so we can have this, or we can have this. Skynet coin. No, I'm not doing it. Thank you. No, I'm just not doing it. These guys are back. Everyone was giving Metaplanet a hard time because they bought a lot of stuff up at the top at 100. Firm plans to invest as much as $250 million in a Florida-based treasury vehicle. Okay. The new entity will be capitalized with $250 million to support operation and access U.S. institutional capital. Florida was chosen for its reputation as a hub for Bitcoin. In other words, we want to incorporate or get business going in the U.S. so we could get more money, so we can do what MicroStrategy is doing. These guys are like, this is like happening where corporations are starting to pile in. Cantor, like Howard Lutnick's company, the famous brokerage firm, yeah, they want to buy billions. Metaplanet wants to buy billions. They can't get enough. And you know what? We're doing sell in May. We're doing old news. Much ado about nothing. NASDAQ ends April higher. Despite the end of U.S. exceptionalism, it's over. It's over for the United States. Yeah, we owe $37 trillion. How are we going to fix that? Right? Everybody wants to attack the orange man. No, that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to say, you know what? These guys may have screwed up. Government always makes mistakes. Every recession goes back to government behavior. Every single one. And whether it's a recession or it's not a recession, what it is an AI-driven economy with Bitcoin as a distinct part of that. And what even the guys who think that don't understand is that the whole crypto ecosystem can massively rally underneath it. Like massively. And again, I've been saying this. I know I'm like practically a broken record, but as you can tell, I like being a broken record. Especially since I know I'm right and I don't care what anyone else thinks. Because my colleague says the same thing. It's like, dude, shut up. Don't buy into this bearish nonsense. Look at Solana. I mean, does it get any easier than this? You know, I did some GAN work, talked about it on PowerPoint. And, you know, I have to dive deeper into it, but like the GAN analytics thing was like, yeah, you know, Solana is like revolutionary in the sense that it's like, it's going to like tear everything down. Like it's the ultimate change. Like maybe Solana and ETH are like the lever that like tips the world where everyone goes, yeah, you know, let's run legacy on Solana and ETH. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Solana goes down. Lux Algo inserts support underneath the rally. You test 140, which I feel like Solana's been at 140 for like a year because it has. Oh, yeah. And now we're going to smoke to the 200-day moving average, which is at 162. And frankly, even if you take the 200-day moving average out of the equation, equilibrium in Solana on Lux Algo is at 200. Like when you look at Solana, like where's the resistance? Like where is it? And then you got this thing where you get the 9 top, the pause. I mean, if I came on TV today and said, you know what, Solana's going to go straight up for 2 weeks, you'd be like, no. I'm like, dude, it's right here. It's right here. I mean, look, here it was working in the other direction, right? You know, you got the 9 bottom, you got the bounce, the counter trend move, and then it goes straight down for 2 weeks. Same thing over here. I'm trying to find out if there's another instance where Solana did this. It's actually hard to find. It doesn't happen often. Here it is. Oh, look at this. It was like the rally off $20, right? Solana does the initial move, dips, and then goes. And look at this chunky part here. Just like Solana doing a 2X. It's ridiculous. And it's actually hard to find, as you can see. It doesn't happen that often, right? Solana goes up, it dips. You know, it's like, let's get it going. I think you do at least 8 days. This payroll number comes out tomorrow. It's going to stink. The job market reality is going to hit. All the job numbers were from Uncle Sugar. So assuming that number is not a lie, it's got to show it's a much weaker labor market. And it's got to show Powell is way behind the curve. In other words, buy Solana. Not investment advice. Buy Solana. Look at ETH. I can't get off of this, right? Like everyone's like, oh, we're doing stable coins. We're doing Circle. Guys, where are all these stable coins going to go when they get in the system? Where are they going to go? They got to go into DeFi somewhere. Like maybe you'll put your stuff in Coinbase and Coinbase will go into Aave or DeFi or somewhere. Where's it all going? What crypto assets are these stable coins going to go after? There's nobody home in Ethereum until 3,100. And if Ethereum can go to 3,100, where can everything else go? This is the thing I keep asking, right? And then, you go back over here, right? You go back over to total crypto market cap numbers. It's flying, right? Total crypto market cap built a base on top of like 2.7 trillion. Like, this is a base, right? It went up. Luxalgo put support underneath it, and it respected it. And yeah, we'll see you at 3.5 trillion. So let's just, let's just take the market and let's add $600 billion to the market cap. What's $600 billion? Nothing. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, equities, the whole market swings $1.5 trillion in a day. We can't add $600 billion to the total market cap of crypto? Really? You got to be kidding me. Of course we can. Of course we can. Right? Altcoin market cap. No one wants to talk about altcoins. I don't understand why no one wants to talk about altcoins. Why people don't want to talk about altcoins going up for 6 months. Like I'm saying that, and people, I look at like different thumbnails. I look at like, what other people are doing. No one's talking about altcoins going up for 6 straight months. Like, what happens if Bitcoin does a huge ramp between now and, say, I don't know, June, and then Bitcoin just sits there and the whole rest of the market just smokes higher, just indiscriminately smokes higher. Whoosh. Why can't that happen? I'm curious. You got altcoins as a whole at equilibrium. Altcoins could go up 40%. That's big cap cryptos could go up 40%. I mean, maybe I say this every day. Maybe I'm repeating myself. I don't know. I like repeating myself. I mean, there are AI coins in here like, Akash Network up 15%. Not even at its 200-day moving average yet. This is just like, AI-related stuff. The graph, decentralized data solutions. The graph is 107% below equilibrium. It has to go up 107% to get back to balance. PAL, decentralized AI marketplace. That looked like a confirmed head and shoulders bottom to you. You break out, you return to the neckline, and then you have this perky little green candle here. By the way, have you missed anything? You haven't missed anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Render. Rounding bottom formation, right? Goes up, hits support, Lux Algo. I mean, what is not to understand about this? What is not to understand? I mean, you can get, look, oh my God. Do you think this virtual thing can be stopped? It goes up, Luxago puts support underneath. It goes up, Luxago puts support underneath. It just keeps going. This is going back to 3 billion at least, right? Because the whole market's undervalued, and now everyone got all negative, and it was crypto winter. Now it's going up, and no one wants to touch it. This market is a mind. Everyone's mind has been, I don't know. It's like half their brain is missing. So it went down. Everyone said it was crypto winter. Now it's going up, and no one wants to touch it. When I'm like, hey, can we get some FOMO here? Like real world assets. What do we got? I bet it's smoking. Like, what are people going to buy with their stable coins? Most likely tokenized assets, right? Checks up 7%, but you can't really tell. You picking up what I'm putting down here? Like, this is just smoking. Oh, remember Pro real estate? Okay. Wick up, back down. Let's see if it holds. Right? Real estate's a disaster. They're gonna need a crypto solution for real estate because housing could crash without it. Housing could absolutely crash without it. Okay. How do you like Crow with 2x up? I don't know, man. I wasn't looking at that, But again, I'm not surprised. Malik saying, virtual making noise. Whoa, Solana, right? Fetch. Dude, this artificial super intelligence token, wait until they start the robot trade. No one's talked about the robot trade yet. Okay. I mean, artificial super intelligence token is like this rally today. It's non-existent. Like when this gets rolling, it's going to be a volcano. And then Powell is either going to capitulate and say, I'm cutting rates, or he's just going to quit. This payroll number is terrible. On Friday, Powell is done. One way or the other. All right. So I think you get the point. The market is telling you that it's not sell in May and go away. It's buy in May and stay. The GAN work is telling you that. I'm telling you that. The Chinese are selling gold, not Bitcoin. Everyone's legacy is bearish. Nobody can do the Bitcoin ETF. And as Michael Saylor said, by the time they do, they'll be buying our bags 10x higher. We will see you on tomorrow. Tomorrow.